What is up, guys? Today I'm going to show you my top 5 very best meta uber awesome longsword builds that I was able to put together over the course of I don't know how many hours did this take me? 3 or 4 hours? God. I was watching Netflix, that's why it took so long. Um Actually it was HBO. Either way, we'll be going through them from worst to best, but it should be noted that the difference between the worst and the best isn't that much, but if you want to be that min-maxer kind of guy, just go ahead and make the best one, skip to the end, you'll see what it is. But I promise you should probably look at the entire video because they'll explain the builds and show the talismans and whatnot and explain why and explain what makes these builds situationally better than other builds, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. Also, it should be noted, YouTube sent me this weird email telling me that hey, you have so many viewers, but they're not subscribing, and they were like, you should tell them to subscribe. I was like, okay. So this is me telling you guys to subscribe. I don't like forcing it, but honestly would rather you follow my Twitch channel because I stream every day. Whereas YouTube is kind of just like a fun thing, just sharing my builds and stuff like that, and reactions and crap. But if you like me, if you like the videos, if you don't like me, subscribe, comment, whatever, man. But honestly, visit my Twitch, say hi. Especially if you're coming from YouTube, I'm probably gonna be really nice to you and gift you a sub. So keep that in mind. So moving on. First build we're going to look at is Nargacuga. This was the first meta of base game. And right here I have it optimized as to the best of my ability. Typically you only really need 3 crit eye, but I had an extra level 2 slot, so I just put in a 4th. There's really not much else you can put in. The Nargacuga weapons actually, compared to the other longswords, have 30 hits of white, compared to Tigrex and some other builds I'll be showing you that only have 20 hits. So, you don't need protective polish, really. Just roll with speed sharpen. Obviously, put attack boost 3 on the weapon. As far as the decorations go, just slotting in 2 attack. 3 attack, actually. One here, one here, one here. We're using Hunter Greaves. I talked about this before with Nargacuga builds because you don't really need all that extra affinity. Going with the ingot boots will put you super overcap. And sadly, if you try to do a 7 affinity setup, it doesn't work out that well. It's okay. You could alternatively, you'll see in the next build, you can alternatively do a 7 crit eye build and the weakness exploit and get 20% affinity off of max smite. You could do that. You could. you could. If you really wanted, you could slap this on to the next build that I'll show you here. Slap on the Nargacuga build, or the Nargacuga sword onto the next build, and it would work. It would, but I don't like it for Nargacuga. The talisman I'm using is this is a really good talisman, so if you don't have this, it's okay. It's 2 quick sheath and 2 level 2 slots. So because I'm technically overcap by crit eye, as long as you have as long as you're able to fit in 2 quick sheath and 2 quick sheath and a level 1 slot, you'll be good. Honestly, so 2 quick sheath and level 1, or 1 quick sheath and 2 level 2s, and you're good. You can fit everything you see on this build. Okay, next build we're going to cover, I actually covered this in another video. It's actually one of my favorite builds that I've made, is the Kimora's Inheritance Longsword build. This is the build I was talking about, to where you can actually or you could have done it with an Nargacuga build as well, but for this one I found it just really fun to not have to worry about weak points, and just as long as you're not just roll spamming like crazy and just sprinting all over the place, you should be able to maintain max might, especially with a longsword. None of your attacks use stamina. I made a build video regarding this build because I feel like this is a super underrated longsword that people are just overlooking. Two-piece Barrett is really solid for longsword for max might. For max might as well as quick sheath. Using this coil for the handicraft, chrome metal coil handicraft, and there's not really any other coil that's decent if you're not going the Anjanath for attack. We do have Master's Touch slotted in here and here. We're using the same quick sheath talisman as before. If you don't have this specific talisman, it's okay because, as I mentioned before, I'm actually overcapped one quick sheath, so I need this one quick sheath and 2 level 2 slots, and you're good. That shouldn't be too bad. If you don't have that, you won't be able to make this build. It's okay. But just a real big fan of this build, honestly. Master's Touch with 100% affinity. Without having to worry about weak points, as long as you're at full stamina. So even if you're not at full stamina, 80% is pretty good too. The fire attack is just because it may occasionally drop to from white to blue. It's okay, you don't have speed chirping, but that fire attack is, if you really want, you can replace the fire attack with speed chirping. Just like having the extra little bit of damage, and also adds that cool fire effect to the sword. So yeah, that's my number 4 pick, I guess, since this is kind of a list. Okay, next one coming up. What is the next one? I actually don't remember. Oh, Tigrex, everyone's favorite meta. Everyone's favorite meta. This is the most popular longsword build. The way I go is I go with Protective Polish because you don't have that many hits of White Sharpness. And I honestly don't think it's worth going for 4 attack unless... I don't think it's worth going for attack unless you can get 4. And you can go for 4. You can do a variation of this build and have 4 attack. But you'd probably have to drop a Quick Sheath, and you'd probably have to drop Protective Polish. And so you'd be dropping from white to blue way more often. With Protective Polish, you'll have way more room for error. And you'll be able to maintain that White Sharpness a lot more. As far as the decos are concerned, it's nothing really fancy. We do have level of max might, which is always useful. So that we have how much crit? We have 38 or 28%, 38% with max might plus the 50, so that's 88 or 78. So I still crit most of the time. Just plugged in crit boost, tenderizer. Am using that same quick sheath talisman again. If you don't have it, worst case scenario, you lose a quick sheath. I have 2 protective polish plugged in. I would really recommend at least 2. 3 might be a little overkill. 1 is, I don't think, is enough. But worst case scenario, dropping a quick sheath won't be the worst thing in the world. Kaiser Coil is just because, generally speaking, you want to use the newest piece of gear, or the higher rarity piece of gear, because it can go to a higher armor value. So Kaiser over Chrome. I guess I should have done that for my builds that used the Chrome. Use the Chrome Coil, but you get more armor. Should also be noted with when choosing what arms to use. If you are using weakness exploit in your build, go with Valstrax because it can have the highest possible armor value. So go with that. Next one, Rampage Longsword. This right here is actually surprisingly better than Tigrex. Now it has a little less attack, as you can see, but it has it can get 100% affinity on weak points. So we have 78 to 88% at 263 versus 100% at 245. I mean, the thing is, it's gonna be nearly identical. So it's gonna be like as shown in like my last video. Like the difference in damage between like these weapons is not gonna matter for 99.9% of players, and even speedrunners is probably not gonna matter. I would go with the Rampage just because you can transmog it. You don't have to worry about getting any additional crit buffs from any place. Yeah, you can see the Valstrax here. We are missing one quick sheath, sadly, and we don't need a 7 crit because that'll put us over cap. But yeah, in order to fit in the handicraft to get the white sharpness for the build, I have to drop one quick sheath and one crit eye, but it's okay, we don't need the crit eye. But dropping the one quick sheath, using that same talisman. If you don't have this talisman, I'm sorry. Good luck. These are just the best builds I was able to make. Chances are there some of you guys have better talismans, but also the point of this was just showing you what like technically the strongest longswords are. And I imagine a lot of you can guess what the final longsword is. And brand new with 3.0 with the Rampage. Along with Rampage. The final best OP Uber meta longsword build is Kimelios. I kind of predicted this would be the case because Kimelios in 2.0, the longsword was like oddly really strong for some reason. It's like, why is this longsword way stronger than all the other Kimelios weapons? And this is 263 at 55% plus 50% on weak points. And that right there is definitely better than Tigrex. Tigrex was what, 265? And you were only getting 78 or 88 with max might. So Kimelios, again, you'll be missing a quick sheath because you can't fit it in, sadly, because you need to make room for the handicraft. But this was basically a similar setup to the Rampage. To the Rampage weapon setup, except you have an extra slot here, so we can plug in that crit eye. So if you really wanted, you could drop the crit eye for an extra quick sheath, maybe able to get some extra affinity somewhere else. So yeah, I'm using protected polish again, same talisman, 2 quick sheath, blah blah blah. But yeah, if you actually ever wanted to know what the strongest longsword is right now, it's actually Kimelios. So now you know, and it's also probably one of the coolest looking longsword. So in order, I feel like Kimora and Narikuga are pretty similar. Narikuga might be a little better because it has more sharpness, but then my Kimora build also has 100% affinity regardless of weak point, and so I can keep the sharpness up longer if I play better, I guess. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But if you just want the best longsword, just use Kimelios, Rampage, Tigrex, Narikuga, and Kimora's Inheritance are kind of niche, you know. You just want to be different. But also, if you just want to pretend that you're using those weapons, you can just transmog them with Rampage. So, but yeah, Kimelios is the clear winner, but like, there's not much of a difference between like all of them. But yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like, leave a comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitch, yada yada yada. Next video I'm probably gonna make on hammers and stuff, and it's a similar kind of format, just showing off my best hammer builds. As far as talismans is concerned, I know the talisman grind sucks. I hate it as much as all of you, but it's the system we have in place, so we have to learn to live with it until Capcom does something about it. Perhaps if enough of us complain, they will do something. But I notice the monster community is very set and just loving whatever Capcom shovels into their mouth. But in the case of 3.0, I'm noticing a lot of more people being to be more vocal about their disappointment, which I appreciate, honestly, because I believe in balance when it comes to critiquing a game. You know, sometimes you can have too much positivity, and I feel like with Monster Hunter Rise, there's like too many people loving it and not enough people critiquing it negatively. That's where I come in. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Till next time, I'll see you guys in the next vid. Bye bye.